So one of people around the president called me and really abused me that government was being attacked and you did not defend. How do I defend theft? I cannot defend corruption. I am a man of integrity. And much as probably the president says that I did not defend government programs, he is right to a certain extent. I defended the ones that were above board. Anything, I did the alcohol program, I worked on it. Registration of farmers for fertilizer program, I defended, I worked on it the last day. Coffee reforms, I defended. Tea reforms, I defended. Anything that was above board, that was in public interest, I defended. But issues of corruption, issues of theft of public funds, I could not go and defend. And he must forgive me. I asked President William Ruto to forgive me. I'm sorry, my former boss. Adani, I could not help you to defend. Shah, I could not afford. I could not help you to defend. If the deputy you have picked can defend theft and corruption, let him go ahead. Because he is not elected, he is your person. So he's answerable to you. But me, I was elected. I have the mandate of the people. And therefore, I'm answerable to some people. So I could not go and defend something that is anti-people because I'm elected by the people. You know that this is where the difference between me and the current deputy president is. He is an appointee of President William Ruto. He must defend religiously anything the president says and wants because that is his employee. I was not an employee of President William Ruto. I was an employee of the people of Kenya. It was therefore right for me to fail to defend anything that is anti-people.
All right.
Rigathi Gachagua, Kenya's deputy president, has been vocal in alleging that the government is opposed to him, despite having undergone an impeachment process and subsequent acquittal. In a recent interview with Karanja from NTV Media House, Gachagua gives shocking revelation on what he said is the reasons why government is still following him even after impeachment. Gachagua has cited several reasons for this perceived opposition, which he claims stem from political differences, targeted prosecution, a politically motivated impeachment attempt, the erosion of the rule of law, and an attack on the democratic process.
Was present in the meeting in uniform. As soon as I arrived, he changed into civilian clothes, was present during the fracas, and did nothing. And again, I've told you, at the exit of the venue, one of the cars, green in color by the criminals, had blocked the road so that we could not exit, so that we were in a death trap, so that they just continued attacking us. And in the process, officers of DCI in the notorious Subaru cars that are unmarked without number plates, abducted, in clear view of everybody, Honorable Peter Mwathi and the MCA for Bibilioni. Peter Mwathi was taken round in circles for 8 hours before he was dumped on Bypass Road. The MCA for Bibilioni, who had spoken very strongly, was taken round and abandoned in Kenale Forest, where he has been picked and is now in hospital in a coma. So clearly, the police were part of this exercise. And I want to caution the state. I've been around for a while. I was in the Moi government. I was in the Kibaki government. I was in the Uhuru government. I was in Ruto government. I'm here today. The use of criminal gangs to manage politics is a very dangerous thing. These criminals, after you use them as government, they don't go back home. They just continue committing crimes. From the pictures that are coming from Limuru, people are now calling us because they identify them. These fellows belong to a criminal gang that caused atrocities in the Mount Kenya region and Nairobi in the 90s and 2004, 5, 6. And what has happened now, once the state gives cover to these criminals to engage in crime, purporting to manage politics for the state, they'll go back to their crimes. And they have already started going to Matatu stages, to collect protection fee, going to dowry payment, demanding a 10%, going to hardwares, demanding money. Once a government uses criminal gangs to cause mayhem like they did in Lemuru, beating innocent people in a funeral, and that young man called Erastus is a hustler. The parents are poor people. They came there and caused mayhem. Today, none of them has been arrested. So they get very embodied. And what happens to the public? If they can attack the second deputy president of the Republic of Kenya in full glare of the media during daylight, with machetes, with weapons, and nothing is done to them. So far, none has been arrested, despite the fact that these are people who are known even with the criminal records. Then they set upon citizens and start extorting money. And the citizens will panic because they will ask, if they can attack the second deputy president of the Republic of Kenya with police supervision, who am I? I want to say, number two, from where I sit, we have discussed with many people, and we are clear in our mind. Some peace caravans had been organized within the Mount Kenya region, with musicians to go around to try to entice the people to give favor to the president and his deputy, who are not doing very well in the region for now. And when people asked, why are you sending peace caravans? There is peace in the Mount Kenya region. Send these peace caravans to Baringo, send them to Espokot, send them to Baragoi. There is an attempt to create chaos in the region through this disruption of meetings. Because you see what will happen, Karanja. I was supposed to go to Nakuru for a funeral on Saturday. And I was supposed to go for a church service in Molo PCA. When my supporters in Nakuru learned of what happened, they started organizing themselves to protect me and to deal with whoever may want to come and attack me and create chaos. And I had to stop because I cannot allow that situation, because that is what the planners of this violence wanted. The people of the Mount Kenya to start fighting each other. So they had organized groups in Molo, and my supporters in Molo, who are in thousands, started organizing themselves so that if anybody tries to come near where I am, they will be able to deal with them. And as a leader, as a very responsible leader who cherishes peace, I had to make a decision to call off Nakuru, to call off Molo, to avoid a clash between my supporters, who are in thousands, and the few criminals who have been paid. So I can see from where I sit, some people have sat down and said, this mountain, because it's becoming problematic, let us set up these characters against each other. Let us get this criminal gang that is feared in the area, unleash it, give it state protection, let it cause mayhem, let the people protect themselves and protect others, and then the mountain is chaotic, and then they can enjoy. I want to appeal to our people, wherever they are. Even leaders have told them, because this criminal gang, after the Lemuru attack, they have started reaching out to leaders. Please, we can offer you protection. That is what they wanted. So that we have a situation where, for you to go to a meeting now, the state has absconded responsibility of its role to protect citizens, and now you are leaving leaders to look for criminal gangs to protect themselves. Like if I want to go somewhere now myself, I say, because what happened to Rimuru can happen, let me also look for other gangsters to protect me. And then you set people against each other. That is a situation that should never happen, and I want to caution the government to be very careful. When those criminals were brought in the 90s, they developed into something that was very problematic. Rooting them out was a very painful and costly affair. Whoever has sat down and decided that you want to engage these criminal gangs to manage politics in the region, you are courting disaster, and you are starting something that you cannot stop.
Political differences and disagreements. Gachagua has suggested that his political leanings and associations have influenced the government's attitude towards him. He is a member of the United Democratic Alliance UDA party, which is led by President William Ruto. However, Gachagua has had disagreements with certain members of the ruling party, UDA including Ruto and his allies in Kenya Kwanza. These disagreements may have contributed to tensions between Gachagua and the government. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. Leave a comment. Why do you think Ruto Kenya Kwanza government is still following and monitoring Gachagua's moves? Thank you for your support. Let's get more details.
It is today. Is one, it was hurried. And there was no sufficient reason to move hastily from NHIF to the new program. And from my own reasoning, when I even looked at the mathematics surrounding that program, is that it would have cost us between 700 to 800 million to upgrade the system that was running the NHIF to make it compliant. Yet we are moving to a new program that is costing 104 billion shillings. And in my view, my very honest view, that's the crux of the matter. That is a rush. That is a focus, the 104 billion. And when you listen, Karanja, me, I'm a people's person. And probably many people thought that I'm a rebel within government. I was not a rebel. I was a deputy president of a popularly elected government that is answerable to the people. And in my view, we in government are the employees of the people. And the people are your employers. And their opinion counts. And you cannot dismiss what they think and what they feel. And that is why even members of parliament were accusing me of intimidating them when I told them to listen to the ground during the Finance Bill 2024. It's because myself, I do listen to the ground. And I take time to listen to what people are saying. If you listen now to patients, they are going through hell. One, in NHIF, you would pay 500 shillings for the whole family. Maybe say you have your wife, and maybe say 2 children like myself. 4 of us will pay 500 shillings for the ordinary people. Now, in this new program, it's each individual. So you find people having a problem with that. Number 2, you find that the private hospitals have not embraced this program. The program was rushed before all the stakeholders were brought on board. So you find that you have been deducted money in your pay slip. Then when you go to a hospital of your choice, you cannot be treated. And that is the frustration that the people of Kenya are going through. And I am a very strong believer that your employer is ultimate. And the feeling of your employer is so central in whatever decision that you make.
In this case, the employer here are the people of Kenya.
The people of Kenya.
Your Excellency.
And if you find the people are up in arms, and everybody is complaining, the stakeholders are complaining, Kenyans are complaining, you simply cannot ignore them and decide that you must do what you have decided because it's a government program. Because that government program is meant to benefit some people. And if the beneficiaries of that program are uncomfortable with its implementation, with its component, with the way it is being rolled out, you have a responsibility as a leader who is elected all the time to take into consideration the views of the people.
This responsibility you had when you chaired the cabinet subcommittees in which the shift from NHIF to SHA came. And for Kenyans who do not understand the workings of government, many of whom are watching today, you may need to tell them, if indeed it's true that you did not agree or you said it was rushed because it came to a cabinet subcommittee you chaired, how did it end up in the cabinet? You're the second most powerful person.
Cabinet will work on policies. The issue is not the policies, the implementation. In terms of timelines, in terms of the transition, it's now when it to go to the respective ministry or department that the whole issue of implementation comes into question. And this is where I'm saying, in my view, the thing is rushed, and there is no adequate public participation because the views of the public are not being taken into account. You can pass a very good policy, and there's nothing wrong with passing a good policy. But when you take it to the people, they have a different view. You have a responsibility to change your mind after listening to the people, because at the end of it all, they are the consumer of that policy. You know, all these public policies are meant for the public. They are not for the bureaucrats who work around them. So when you do it, and probably you think you are doing it in good faith, and you think you have come up with a very good policy that can benefit the people, and when you roll out, and that's why public participation has become very instrumental in the new constitutional dispensation. You must ask the people, what do you think about this program? If there is a lot of resentment, if there is a lot of rejection, it behoves you as an administration to take into consideration the views of the people. You know, I have seen an advisor in the president's office telling people that their children will not be allowed to go to school unless you register for this program. You know, that is coercion. That is intimidation. If something is good, Ibrahim, it is people who should be rushing to register. You know, a good package, something that is attractive, something that is beneficial to the people. You know, it is upon people to rush and do it. But if it reaches where you have to intimidate people and blackmail them, that unless you register for this program, your child will not be admitted to school, there is a problem somewhere. Why are you setting conditions?
Mr. Gachagua, what level of responsibility are you taking in this situation that we are in? You're speaking about a government that does not listen. You served in this government for close to 2.5 years. Are you surely lifting your hands and saying, I am not responsible for anything?
Karanja, you had the charges against me in the Senate. These are some of the charges that were brought against me. Insubordination, because of saying, no, this is not right. I'm told I'm insubordinating the president. I was accused of not living to the principle of collective responsibility, because in some instances, I would say, no, this is wrong. I've listened to the people, and this program is anti-people. So you cannot sit here and ask me to take responsibility when you know that some of the charges against me before the National Assembly and the Senate was that I went to the side of the people. I'm a people's person.
Charges which you, through your lawyers, completely refuted.
That's what I'm saying. I said, like, we were told to go and supervise the demolition of homes along Nairobi River. And I said, no. And I say that is not insubordination, that is doing the right thing. Because, one, a government should not have be at war with the citizens. We had made a commitment as the Kenya Kwanza administration that if we are elected to office, we will not have brutal evictions and inhuman relocation of citizens. And here I'm being told to do it. And I say, no, I will not do it. And I was defending that charge to say what I did is the right thing, because even if you look at the UN Charter, there are certain ways how you relocate people. So I have gotten where I am today because in many instances, I refuse to betray the people of Kenya.
Gachagua said that he has faced several corruption charges, which he has maintained are politically motivated and an attempt to tarnish his reputation. He has accused certain individuals within the government of using their positions to initiate and influence the prosecution of cases against him. Gachagua has denied any wrongdoing and has vowed to clear his name in court.
Serious money. And experts have told me that it was possible to improve the existing system that was in NHIF at a cost of between 7 to 800 million. Here we are spending over 100 billion. And from where I sit, when I look at the whole rush of this share shift thing, it is because of this 104 billion. That is where the issue is.
And because in this you were in cabinet, who was tasked in handling this? Who was tasked?
The Ministry of Health. Again, the president works, he has a team of economic advisors who do most of the work with him before things can come to cabinet. This is where all these details were worked out. And you have heard that even people in that economic advisory council, their spouses are involved in that system. There is clearly conflict of interest, you know, and the whole thing is not straight. And that is why Kenyans are agitated. Why would you want to spend 104 billion shillings on a system that is not necessary? It was quite okay to improve the existing one, between 700 to 800 million to do the same purpose. So you can see some people somewhere, are conflicted. And that is why the rush, because for this 104 billion to come out, the thing needs to be rushed.
Who are the platform providers on SHA? Because I have seen documents from the Ministry of Health that indicate that for every amount that SHA will be paying for each procedure done or for each service offered, some amount will be heading or directed to a platform provider.
I think 25% or something like that.
Who are these platform providers?
No, I was not involved. Nobody involved Rigathi Gachagua. I was not involved in the procurement. I was not involved in the conceptualization of this SHA thing. I was just there. And that's why I'm saying many times I was being told, President said that I failed to defend. He said when he was unveiling his deputy, he accused me of having left him alone to defend government programs and failed to support him to defend government programs. But how do I defend things I don't know, Karanja? I can't go to defend that SHA thing. The use of 104 billion, I would be out of my mind to come to television to support something that, in my view, is ridiculous, and which from every perspective is pure theft of public funds. I cannot defend such things. I was being told to defend Adani. You know, I said one day I was in a funeral somewhere in Trans Nzoia, and I think the senator for Kisii, Richard Onyonka, came very hard on government because of Adani. And I was the last to speak about the fertilizer program, which admittedly is a success. And I took part. I worked with it with the president. And in fact, one day, a minister came and presented to the president a bill of about 1.8 billion to distribute fertilizer. And I happened to be there. And I told the president, this is theft. You know, he was saying, for us to distribute fertilizer in Kenya, we need to hire a firm to ensure that the fertilizer reaches the farmers. And he was giving like 300 shillings per bag. So we calculated with the president, and the bill would have been like 1.8 billion. And I did suggest to the president that we could register farmers using the officers of the National Government Administration. And he was agreeable. And he asked me to oversee the exercise, which I did successfully. And within 2-3 weeks, we had registered 5 million farmers. And that program is very, very successful. Again, the issue of the strengthening of the Kenyan shilling, that again is successful. Again, the employment of the teachers, 52,000 teachers, give credit where you do, that is true. But there are issues he talked about. The economy has improved. There is growth, there is less inflation, all those figures. From where I sit, because I told you I was around during Moi time, I was around during Kibaki's time, I was there during Uhuru's time, I'm there during Ruto's time. For you to know whether the economy is successful, you don't need figures. Just ask Wananchi, they will tell you. If you ask people who have been around through those 4 governments, they will tell you that the economy improved during the tenure of Mwai Kibaki. Those are they are the best indicators. Forget about these figures and percentages. Those are theories and statistics done at the Treasury, growth of 2.7%, I don't know. Those are okay. But if you want to know how the economy is performing, just talk to the ordinary people. Karanja, you live with this country. Talk to the people.
What is your view?
I'm asking you, talk to the people.
You served in this government for half time.
We are not talking about the government now.
We are asking.
We are
talking about
I'm telling you,
Your Excellency,
the best people to give you an indication about the performance of the economy are the people of Kenya. And from what they tell me every day, they don't think we are making any progress. They think we are doing very badly. And at the end of it all, they are the owners of this country. They are the people we work for. So what they think and what they feel is the most important. And any time there is improvement in the economy, the people will feel it. There will be improvement in business. There will be improved cash flow, employment. All those benefits will tag along with an improvement of the economy.
Impeachment maneuver and political motivations. Regarding his impeachment, Gachagua has expressed his belief that it was an orchestrated move to remove him from office. He has alleged that certain individuals within the government, driven by personal or political grievances, sought to initiate the impeachment process without sufficient grounds. Gachagua has maintained that the allegations against him were baseless, and that the impeachment attempt was politically motivated. He argues that this undermines the rule of law and equal treatment before the courts. Gachagua has pointed to instances where individuals close to the government have been accused of corruption or other offenses, but have not faced the same level of scrutiny or prosecution. Attack on democratic process and institutions. Gachagua has suggested that the actions taken against him, including the impeachment attempt and subsequent investigations, represent an attack on the democratic process.
And I can tell you, from where I sit, Kenyans are crying. One, for taxation. You know, I was with a police officer who told me all those things that were happening, because even them, they are very unhappy looking at his payslip, the deductions, you know. All the people with the payslips are very unhappy because the deductions are not corresponding to the service. Like now, this money for SHA and SHIF, people are deducted. When you go to hospital, there is no service. Again, we had a problem with the Finance Bill 2023 about taxation of primary agricultural produce, avocado, macadamia. So you find people have a problem. If you go to the small traders in Nairobi, in fact, if you go to Nairobi, Karanja, I would like you to take your cameras and yourself and go around. Most of the shops are closed down. There's no business. And that's a clear indication. If you want to know how the economy is going, go downtown to Nairobi, go to River Road, go to Taveta Road, go to Accra Road, go to Nyamakema, and you find most shops are closed. In fact, shops used to pay goodwill of 3 million. You are being called by the landlord, please take this shop.
All right.
There's no goodwill. Pay us whatever rent you can afford when you have it, but have the place opened. So I can say that we are not doing well. Those figures the president said, fine, those are figures. But listening to the people of Kenya, moving around the country, moving around downtown, we are not doing very well. And that is why I was being accused of not defending government programs. And I have given you the reasons that you can only defend that which you are part of. But if you are not part of that decision, if you are not part of that program, if your input has not been sought, if your views have not been incorporated, then it will be very difficult for you to defend that particular program. I've told the president countless times that the people of Kenya do not want a housing program. The people of Kenya are of the view that building houses should be left to the private sector. They revisit the tenure of President Mwai Kibaki. President Mwai Kibaki opened the bypasses, built the roads, installed electricity and sewage. And then the houses just came up. Just go through the bypasses, so that you also allow the private sector to thrive. Again, people are of the view that housing is a very personal thing. And people should be allowed to build their own houses at their own time. And that is why you find, many people are not able to tell the president that truth. Many people are not able to tell him that truth. And that is why you found the other day when he was in Embu, he went to talk about that housing and people told him, no, we don't want it. Because it's reaching there, because you see what is happening to Kenyans. They find everybody else has failed them. MPs are not talking for them. Nobody is talking for them. Then they are left on their own now to address the president directly. It was very unfortunate because that shouldn't happen ordinarily, where people are shouting at the president. It's not right. It was very awkward for me. But people have reached there because he was talking about housing so passionately to people who believe it is not right, you know. And many a times I told the president, Your Excellency, I've talking to many people. Professionals are talking to me, business people are talking to me, church people are talking to me. People think that we should concentrate on completing the projects that we inherited from President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Mau roads, the bypasses, all roads that are going on, irrigation dams, provide rural electrification. The people of Kenya feel that that is what is a priority. Again, the people wanted us to pay the pending bills, which is about 900 billion. They felt that the issue of housing is really not a priority, and it's a very individual thing, and they feel that it should be left to the private sector, And myself, Karanja, I'm a people's person. Once the people are of that opinion, that becomes my automatic opinion.
And that automatic opinion,
the president was accusing me of not going to launch housing. It's one of the things repeatedly he would accuse me of. Wewe Rigiji unisaidii kwenda kufungua manyumba nini? Mwambia hii manyumba watu wataki boss. Sasa mimi sitaki kupigana na raia. Unajua hii wananchi ndio wametuajiri kazi. Mwambia rais, tumeajiriwa kazi na hii watu. Sasa hii kitu ya manyumba hii hawataki. Hata tukijaribu kuwaambia, they are not interested. Because even many times I would go with the president and he would start speaking. Normally he would take between 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the mood he's in and how the crowd is and the reception. So with the time I had studied how long he takes. So once he starts and I decide that he'll take 25 minutes, I would go and mix with the people when we are launching those projects. They would clearly just say they are not interested.
He has expressed concern about the use of state institutions for political gain and the erosion of democratic norms. Gachagua has argued that the government's actions are aimed at silencing dissent and consolidating power. It is important to note that these are Gachagua's perspectives and allegations, and they have not been independently verified or confirmed by the government or other sources. It is also worth considering that Gachagua is a politician, and his statements may be influenced by his own political interests and agenda. The government has not publicly responded to Gachagua's allegations in detail, and it remains to be seen how these claims will impact the political landscape in Kenya. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. Leave a comment. Why do you think Ruto Kenya Kwanza government is still following and monitoring Gachagua's move?